In the essence of time for everybody here, let's get started. And, you know, Peter's recording it for us, so that's doing a great job. This is episode number 233. What's been your most valuable lesson so far to date, either in life or in business? And before we get started with this, going to have each of these great people introduce themselves and tell everyone what they do, where they're located, and reach out to these people. Their contact information is going to be in the chat so that you can reach out and talk to them. It won't cost you a dime other than your time. You don't know who these people know. So reach out. You'll be amazed at what you can learn. With that, we'll start with Kristine, followed by Tina.
Thanks, John. Good evening and good morning, everyone, depending on where you are in the world. I'm in Australia, Sydney, Melbourne time, so Australian Eastern Standard Time. And it's now 10 p.m. here. So I'm Christine Best. I'm a wellness strategist. And, there's so many people today who are suffering from a lack of energy, and they're finding it hard to concentrate. I mean, the pressures in life, they've increased a bit, the pressures there, and the speed of acting on things is stressing people a bit. So, and not only that, our diets are not so good. So that's another area of attack on our bodies. And so if you find that you're in this kind of situation, that's not very good for, what you do at home and interacting if you've got no energy and doing the lawns and whatever else you have to do there, and then going to work and you're not performing there at your best. So what I do is I help people to heal from that, to re-energize, reset. And then what that means is they can then contribute more effectively to themselves, their family, and their work environment. And if you're a leader, you can actually leverage that as a strategic advantage. And if you've got a team, what if you leveraged their health and well-being as a strategic advantage? What if it gave you 5% or 10% increase in your productivity? What would that mean to you and your business? Let's have a chat.
Thanks, Kristine. You bring up a very valid point, just increasing things by a small percentage. If you did that every month, it compounds over a year, so you could have a major increase. Good job. Thank you. Tina?
Thank you.
Followed by Alan.
Thank you. So first off, I'm going to apologize to Donna. We had set up a time and I was remote, and apparently Zoom decided that you needed permission from your main Zoom computer, which was not where I was. So I apologize, Donna. We'll set that back up. So, the pain, the stress, and the struggle that divorcing men and women go through. Well, there is a way to find peace and keep your sanity, all while assisting your attorney to do a great legal job. This saves you thousands of dollars and lots of stress. My name is Tina Huggins. I'm your divorce coach, specialist, divorce planning specialist, restorative family mediator, and conflictual co-parenting coach. Thank you for being here today.
Thanks, Tina. And by the way, Tina saved at least one gentleman over $100,000 on his divorce. I know some of us have been through it, and it could be very expensive. So if you want to save yourself some money, reach out to Tina. Alan, followed by Dr. Chris.
Hi, John. Hi, everyone. I'm Alan Edwards. I'm a property investor and developer from Hampshire in the UK, and we convert old unused or underused commercial buildings into high quality residential. Since the last meeting, we've just picked up another old nursing home, which will be converted into 13 residential units. That's 8 flats and 5 bungalows. in Cornwall, which is in the west of England. So that's the sort of thing we do. It helps to solve the housing crisis. It also is for specialized supported housing, which is a way of disabled or vulnerable people being looked after in their own homes. They'd each have one of these flats and they get visiting care. So it's got a social purpose as well. And also we can give great returns to investors as well.
Do you guys also do, like, say there was an old school or an unused school? Could you
Yeah.
convert something like that?
Yeah, absolutely, John. We do anything basically. We solve property problems. So if there's any sort of building, whether it's even a wreck or it's just undeveloped land, if it's a building that's been constructed for one purpose, we can look at its suitability for adaptation to other purposes as well. So a school sounds ideal because there's parking there. They're usually in residential areas. They're not in industrial areas. So certainly schools are a great candidate for making into housing. And it's not only the UK that has a housing shortage, lots of countries around the world do. And we're also into looking at affordable housing as well. So depending on what's involved in converting a school, then we'd ascertain what the feasibility was for an affordable housing development.
Great. Thanks, Alan. Good job. Dr.
Thank
Chris,
you.
followed by Vangelis.
Thanks very much. Yes, hi, I haven't been here for a while. I've been doing various things all over the place. Dr. Chris Willems, ArtsMedia consultant. I'm based north of Brisbane in Australia. I help business owners, leaders, and entrepreneurs who loathe presenting get to love it and not feel like they come across as complete dicks on video and Zoom. My aim is to get 50 executives in 50 weeks, comfortable, confident, and credible on stage, on screen, and online. And I love what Alan does. I've mentioned it before. It's fantastic what you do, Alan, and more people around the world could be and should be doing what you are doing. Thank you.
Thanks, Dr. Chris. You're helping 50 executives. People look at a lot of executives, say, wow, they're up there and they don't need the help. But a lot of them do.
Mm.
A lot of them are scared crapless if they've got to get up and speak or do something like that. It's great
Yes.
when they're in front of their own people, but they got to speak in front of others. They got a problem.
Indeed. Thank you.
Vangelis, I know that you've got a lot of experience helping in businesses. So Vangelis, followed by Donna.
I don't know why it caught my attention, but Alan, when you said an old nursing home, are there any young nursing homes? It's kind of,
He's going to
Anyway.
give it a facelift and make it young.
Yeah, it's just kind of funny when the way he said it. It was just.
You do actually get new ones. This
Yeah.
happens to be an old one that's closed down. So you do
I know.
get new and old.
It was just the word choice. That's all.
Yes.
Okay. Anyway, didn't mean to make it jovial and brief. Anyway,
That's fun.
Yes, my name is Vangelis, and I was speaking with someone yesterday, and does anybody remember Blockbuster, Kodak, Polaroid, Circuit City? And even when I was at IBM, there's a lot of executives that sometimes struggle with embracing, and sometimes it's a thought or it's a desire that's done purposely. Like remember at IBM, personal computers had just come out in the 70s, and our CEO said no mainframes, and then in 1993 they had to let go of 160,000 people, not 10,000 people, 160,000. And I remember watching Circuit City. The CEO there, he was on the news because they were so well, and the next year they went under. And you got to wonder what's going on. And it doesn't matter what the technology is. For example, personal computers, or it's the internet just came out in 95, or voice over the internet in 98, or what we're doing here, video over the internet in 2000. It doesn't matter what it is. What is it today? Artificial intelligence.
Mhm.
People are scared of the stagecoach. They were scared of the Pony Express. They were scared of Ford's automation. They were scared of, oh, the train's now going to take away our jobs. No, okay, the airplanes are going to take away the ship. Doesn't matter what it is. It's just a different name. So what I have been helping companies with for decades is embracing whatever is out there. It's artificial intelligence right now. So again, it doesn't matter what it is. It's the leading technology, and that's what's happening. And that's what I work with companies to help them embrace what's happening so that they can take advantage of what the stagecoach brings. Thanks.
Basically, it's a tool. It's not something to be scared of. It's a tool to help enhance. And like anything else, if you use it wrong, it's not worth a crap. But used right, it's a great advantage. Thanks, Vangelis. Donna, followed by Daniel.
It's me. So, hi, I'm Donna Burton. I'm better known as Donna the Astronomer. I'm also from Down Under. I live 6.5 hours northwest of Sydney. I show people the night skies, and my goal is to try and save the night sky one light at a time, because so many of you guys around the world don't get to see it. At the moment, I'm collecting night sky stories, and having run a poll, I'm actually going to start my own podcast, as well as work towards my goal of 10 podcasts by the end of on for other people by the end of the year. And it's all about looking up and feeling better.
Thanks, Donna. The stars do contain a lot of knowledge. Daniel, followed by Gab.
Hello, everyone. First of all, delighted to be here, as always. So I'm Daniel Kobryner. I live in London, and I'm a high-energy mental fitness coach, an international motivational speaker, and I'm the host of a podcast which is called Redesign Your Life Today. For anybody who has transformational stories to share, please join me. So, I used to be in international sales and management for over 35 years, and I found a calling. I felt this calling to really concentrate and dedicate the rest of my life to help others live the best life they can. Because I realized that without knowing it, I had coached people all my life, and I really loved doing it. So today, I'm working with entrepreneurs, business owners, professionals, especially those who are over 40, who feel stuck, who are stressed, who are disconnected with themselves. And I help them to reconnect, to gain clarity, to gain confidence, and really to bring the best out of themselves. So anybody who wishes to connect with me, please do that. My details will be in the chat. Thank you.
Clarity and confidence are a really big deal. Keep up the good work, Daniel. Gab, followed by Glenda.
Thank you, John.
Hi, my name's Gab. I'm clinically diagnosed with autism and ADHD, and I am an advocate for the neurodivergent community. I build websites, I do digital design through my business, Ellable. Every time somebody makes a purchase of any digital asset, it goes to me doing missionary work in schools to help kids across the world love themselves. And I came from a place of not loving myself, so I kind of share my story, and I'm just trying to help other people be in a better place. And yeah, that's what I do.
Gab does a really great job. She's got a new podcast. I think every one of you should get on it. I had the honor and the privilege of being her first guest, and I think everybody here can really benefit from going on her program. So keep up the good work, Gab. Glenda, followed by the master of sales conversations and conversions, Mr. Brian K. McNeil. Glenda?
Well, thank you very much. First of all, I want to give a big shout out to Gab. She is an incredible, beautiful soul, and she sees things in a different light. but in the light that we all need to see. Her way of looking at things is so refreshing and so beautiful. So if you haven't, just reach out and talk to her. She is a glowing star. I look at her as a shining star in our world. So please do yourself a favor and book a time and just chat with her. And that's anybody who watching this, but that's also all of our people here that are in front. I totally adore this girl, so young lady. So please do reach out to her because you won't be sorry. I also had her on my podcast and we talk about autism, and because that's also something that touches my world. And I'm so enthralled with this woman. So please do. So who am I? So I'm here to help women to unlock their self-esteem, their confidence, and shedding anything that no longer serves them. It is about becoming the best version of yourself in a world where our minds are constantly bombarded with negative thoughts stemming from biases, external influences, and life challenges. It seems essential to reclaim control of your own mental space. If you're seeking a transformational path to your highest potential, let's start a conversation today. My name is Glenda Kroll. I'm a life empowerment strategist and reinvention coach who helps women over 40 turn life's breakdown into your greatest breakthroughs. Having overcome my own seasons of self-doubt, life changes that shook my confidence, I now guide others through my proven 3-step method of recognize, reinvent, and rise. My mission is bold yet simple. Transform pain into power, rebuild self-worth, and ignite unshakable confidence so women can rise with purpose, lead with grace, and create a life they truly love. My motto? Just simply turn your struggles into your strengths. Thank you. And my information will be on the side. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Glenda. And thanks for the great shout out for Gab. That was really nice of you. And for those that are watching the replay, Glenda is an amazing person. If you want to be on an incredible podcast, get booked on Glenda's. If any of them in this room haven't been, make sure you do. It's well worth your time. She does an incredible job. So good job, Glenda. Keep it up. And now the master himself, Mr. Brian K. McNeil.
John, you are very, very kind. I appreciate you so much. And I have been on Glenda's podcast, and it was a wonderful experience for me. And I have had a conversation with Gabby, and it was also a wonderful experience with me as well as my talks with each of you. I think I've had talks with. My name is Brian K. McNeil, and I am a sales coach, and I'm a sales speaker. And I have been uniquely qualified to help people to sell themselves and their services with much more confidence and much more effectiveness. There are so many amazing entrepreneurs and business people who are not earning nearly the money that they could or that they should. And very often, the reason why they're not earning that money is they simply do not know how to sell it well, or they're holding on to antiquated methods of selling or antiquated methods of thinking that's keeping them from being effective today. Because we cannot sell today the way we sold yesterday. It doesn't work as well. I spend my life giving honor to the word sell. And so because it's not a 4-letter word. I think it's the essential skill if you endeavor to be in business of any kind. And I think I've been uniquely qualified to do this through my workshops, through my talks from a platform, through my training sessions, or my books. I'm the proud author of 9 books. Super excited about my latest book. Timid entrepreneurs have skinny kids. And I love this book so much. I'm having so much fun with this book. Yes, Dr. Christiaan, timid entrepreneurs have skinny kids. It's a book I rewrote 3 times to get it right. So Brian K. McNeil, the sales confidence coach and the best sales speaker.
Thanks, Brian. Brian's got a lot of it. He's got 9 books out. I've got 2 or 3 of them actually. So they're great books. Pick them up if you're looking for some great tips and strategies. Brian's a great guy to listen to. Mary, you joined us just at the right time. You get to tell us all about you and all the other good stuff you're doing.
So I am Mary Stanley. I'm the founder of Supportive Minds. And what I came to talk about today is my daughter, who's 11 years old, just published her first book. So she helped create a program that's in over 3,000 schools, 250 churches, and it's called the Kindness Club. And she created it in kindergarten because there wasn't an activity for her that she could do. And so now she is writing, I'm helping her, but we're writing a series of books called Ariane on the Kindness Tree, with basically turning kindness into a superpower based on being neurodivergent. She's autistic. And it's the stories of what her and her brother go through every day, from being her brother being oversensitive to sound, her being oversensitive to everything around her and noticing things that people don't notice, and how they're actual superpowers and how you can use them as a way to help understand other people. And it's all based on that. And another book's coming out right around Christmas. And so what I do is I help families understand their kids that are like that and struggle to connect with them and help them understand neurodiversity and how to help them grow and create that safest space at home.
That's really great, Mary. And which state are you in that they're using your stuff in their school system?
We are all over the country, and we're actually in 3 schools, one in Australia and one in Germany. It's all through the whole entire Connections Academy schools, but we have different schools in different what do you call them? Districts in Georgia, California. We've got a couple in Michigan.
Excellent. Keep up the good work, because, you and I know you coach Gab as well. So the two of you and Glenda, you're making a major difference in this world. It might not seem like it, but there's a lot of people that are starting to wake up to autism and the differences in people. So keep that up. I'm John D. Allen Small Business Coaching. I talk about people fall in love with your prospect's problem, not your solution. And the reason I say that is basically I'm a fixer. I see problems with people's businesses, their solutions, their strategies, sometimes in their personal lives. And my goal is to help them fix it. So if you're having some problems or challenges, there's a lot of great people here that can help in so many ways. So anybody watching this replay, reach out to these people. You'll never know who they know and what they could do to help you. So without further ado, I'd like to talk about today's topic, and that is, what's been your most valuable lesson to date? And just before we get started, we have some apologies for people that are normally here. Mark Inkster, he's obviously, it's 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning for him, so he's not here. Vangelis, who's another great one here. There's a lot of amazing people that are normally here. Tony B, that for whatever reason can't be here today. But, Mr. McNeil, he's got his hand up there. He's the fast guy here today. So, Brian, let's get it started.
What a great topic. Because we all get a lot of great advice, and I've gotten a lot of great advice, and I've sought out great advice and great mentors. And about maybe 9 years ago, I got what I consider the greatest advice I ever got. I was sitting having coffee and cake with a woman entrepreneur who's very established in the city of Charlotte. She makes all the money, got a beautiful, beautiful home, and she knows everyone. Everyone knows her. Her name is Nancy White. Her and I were having a conversation. And I said, Nancy, if you had your life to do over again, what would be the advice you'd give, to yourself as a young person? And she paused and she thought about it. And she said to me, Brian, if I had it to do over again, I would have asked for more help, and I would have been willing to accept more help. Now, at the time in my life when I got that counsel, it kind of rocked me. Whoa, ask for more help and be willing to accept more help. I think that's the greatest bit of advice I ever got. And because it caused me to think about it, I haven't really been willing to accept a lot of help all the time. And I haven't been willing to ask for help all the time. But that right there, I think if you can embrace that thought, ask for more help and be willing to accept more help, it will change everything.
Thanks, Brian. You bring up a very valid point, especially for the guys. You know, who needs help? Who needs directions? We can do this. And then we look at it and say, how come this damn thing doesn't work? We got parts left over. And, so great tip. Ask for help. Alan?
Hi, John. Hi, everyone. Yeah, my greatest piece of advice was from an elderly chap I knew on one of the early jobs that I had, and he was explaining to me that no matter what business you're in, it's all about people, and it's how you relate to them. And it's true when you think about it. You need to form a relationship with somebody, no matter if you've never spoken to them before. You need to start to communicate with them. And in order to start to communicate effectively, you need to form a relationship. So it's your reaction to their first words to you, or it's your general demeanor when you respond to someone as regards whether they want to continue communicating with you, or if they think, well, this is a person I don't want to deal with. So basically, you only get one chance to make a first impression. And it used to be said that you've got 60 seconds to make an effective communication, to give an impression and tell someone enough about yourself to for them to want to have another conversation or to continue the conversation. Probably you've got less than 60 seconds these days. But you only get one chance to make a first impression, and you need to be relatable to anybody you speak to, no matter what background they are, no matter what difficulties they've got. The first thing is you've got to be relatable. Thanks, John.
Very great points, Alan. Thank you. And you talked about 60 seconds. I believe it's about 2 or 3 seconds when they go to your website to grab their attention. So you got to know what you're talking about. And it's not all about you. It's about them. Because everybody here has heard me say they don't really give a rat's ass about you or me. They want to know, can you solve my problem? So good point, Alan. Thanks for bringing it up. Mary?
I learned 2 particular lessons in business and just in life. One is you can't be about money in your business. And by that, you have to follow your mission, the reason why you create your business to begin with. When you follow your mission, you do what you love and what you're doing it. And usually people do it to start with is to help people. And they forget that and become more about the money. And a lot of it has to do with society and working with marketers and different things. We get so money centered. But if you follow your mission, the money follows. Everything comes into play when you're doing it for the right reasons. And the other one is, I've talked to so many people. I'm in a lot of networking events, doing a lot of different things. And people worry so much about saying the right thing, doing the right thing. And you end up being very robotic. And so people who know me know I'm very unfiltered. So I ended up coming up with a disclaimer. So I'm German, I'm Irish, I'm ex-military. There are some days I just can't be nice to stupid. Oh, and the other one is that if you don't think before you speak, don't expect me to. Well, when I start talking about my disclaimers and how I am, I get a laugh. So you break that ice. And when you do say things that aren't quite right or quite might hit the wrong way, you're you're authentic, you're being who you are, but they understand it. It's about being yourself and being who you are and being okay with who you are and not always worrying about looking the part and saying the right part and being everything that everyone thinks that you should be. In reality, as long as you are who you are and you put yourself out there, people are going to connect with that. It's the real part they're going to connect with, not the persona or the likable instant messenger person that, life is perfect, life is great. I mean, hell, most of you have noticed my disclaimer's gone off of my thing for the longest time, Peter can acknowledge to this, where my name is used to be a line saying, ignore the kids. If you see them walk by naked, it's just a sensory day. Because I have two special kids, and a lot of times clothes were not an option. And just going with things like that and understanding shit happens is a big way to help yourself connect with those on that personal level to help increase what you do.
Mary well said. The biggest message I got from that is be authentic, be your real self, be the truth teller. Don't be there trying to sugarcoat it to make everybody feel nice and all the rest of that fine, upstanding crap everybody talks about today. If you can't be yourself, you're not being authentic and you're not being a truth teller. So keep up the good work. Thanks, Mary. Daniel?
Well, guys, it's difficult to come after you because I was exactly on the same thought patterns, exactly. So, and I'm not going to change it because it's really about this, when we have doubts about actions to take, when we have fears, and one thing we need to remember, really, and it was said, but I've got to repeat it. Why do we do that? What's the purpose? And when we know, and I think for all of us here, it's about helping people. It's about really bringing a difference into this world. It's about motivating people. It's about really doing whatever we can to uplift people. When we do that, we need to remember that it's not about ourselves. Yes, we make mistakes. Are we perfect? No. And even if, we don't think, even if we make mistakes, it's all right. Provided we are on our path, provided we want to help people remember. And of course, afterwards, whatever actions we take, even if we are not getting the outcome desired, it's really a lesson. How can we learn from that? How can we improve that? And obviously, the other words which came just before I spoke was about be your authentic self. Be yourself. You are born, with the light of the Creator. You are born really perfect as you are. And afterwards, with your education and everything, there's, the shadows which come. But let the light shine and really believe. And when you have your perhaps God-given mission, just go for it, because we are all here on this planet for a reason. It's to bring something at our humble levels with our unique gift to make this place a better world.
Thanks, Daniel. What I got from what you just said is, nobody's perfect. And perfection isn't in this world. Total perfection isn't here. Nobody will attain it. So by being yourself, that shows who the real authentic you is. And keep up the good work. Thanks. Kristine, followed by Dr. Chris.
Yeah, I agree with what everyone's been saying. And I think we've all probably experienced all of those aspects. And if we wait for perfection, nothing will ever happen, because you'll never be perfect, right, Daniel? And but what I wanted to say was that, and it's a big lesson, because I was excited about what I wanted to do with my music and my songwriting, and then through that I came back to my wellness business, which is it's pretty amazing to be back on track with that. From, I had a 25-year break from my previous 20-year business, yet I could just pick that up and reestablish it. The knowledge was like there, and I feel like I'm back on my path. But the point what I wanted to make was that when I was really excited about doing all this stuff, my family didn't have the same enthusiasm. They were quite negative. Oh, I don't think you should do that. And you're not such a great singer. Well, there's heaps of better singers than you. And like everything they said to me was like dragging me down. And my friends were saying, oh no, you shouldn't be doing that. You shouldn't be wasting your money on that. And it's like, if I hung around these people, I might not have got to this point where I'm at now, because they were discouraging me, and that negativism, it was like, you're already at the point where you go, can I do this? You're thinking, gee, this is an area I've never stepped into. This is all new territory to me. This is a bit scary doing all this stuff, especially at my age, which was when I embarked on this chapter, I was in my 60s, and I'm 71 now. So a lot of people would be daunted by even embarking on the journey that I'm on. And then if you've got all these people dragging you down and they've got their expectations and they're putting them on you, a lot of people would just cave in. And, I'm here to say that you shouldn't allow that to happen. I had to distance myself from those people to protect myself, because I had to at least give this my best shot to see what I could do, how far I could go. And I've far exceeded what I originally thought. And now I know I've even got more in the tank. So, I'm just saying to people, if you've got it in your heart to do something, follow through and do it, and hang around with people like the ones in this group, because they'll uplift you and give you a helping hand and pull you up with them. Whereas those naysayers and negative people will drag you down and stop you from achieving your goals and your purpose. You were made to do something, and if it's a deep-seated, soul-deep thing, you got to do it.
Very interesting, Kristine. The
one
thing I got from your great talk here was, a lot of people put their inadequacies on somebody else. They're afraid to step out and take a chance. And when you do and you succeed, you make them look bad. So, oh God,
I think there are a number of reasons why people say it. Sometimes it's to protect you. They think they're protecting you. Yeah. So there's different angles that they could be coming from, but yeah, they could be doing it what you said. Yes.
That's the one thing I found. The other thing I found was a lot of people, when they want to go do something, they'll ask the neighbor across the back fence who's never done it, should I do this? And the neighbor says, oh, geez, no, you can't do that. You're going to fail and what have you, And again, part of the thing I found was, if you succeed doing it, that makes the neighbor look bad. Because, oh no, how could she or he go out and do that? And I look like a failure here. So good job. Keep it up. Dr. Chris, followed by Vangelis.
Thanks very much, John. Yes, it's interesting listening to all these. There's a theme, and that's extended by the quote that I'm very fond of quoting. Wasn't so much advice that I got personally, but something I read by one of Australia's preeminent authors, Peter Carey. In an interview, he said, "You follow your life. You choose the thing that energizes you at the time." And for me, that's absolutely true. I started off my career in engineering, I was doing music and stuff at the same time, but I've realised not that long ago that I've been doing artistic stuff for 50 years. The engineering's well and truly gone, so it's following that passion, as everyone's been saying, following that passion, that because you have to. It's like a vocation. You have to do it. It's like oxygen. If you don't do it, you die. That's in my view, that's really the only way to arrive at the most authentic version of you, following what energizes you at the time and wherever that takes you.
Interesting. One of the things that came through to me was, you talked about a career in engineering. Obviously, it wasn't one you loved. It might have been one that somebody said you ought to do or you'd be good at. But really, when you follow your passion, that's when you do your best work. Great. Thank you very much, Dr. Chris.
Thank you.
Vangelis, followed by Glenda.
Not quite sure what my theme is, so John, you can tell me what you hear after I tell you my stuff here. I was at my first company, and sometimes the consulting engineers would give you something to do, and one of the engineers gave me a project, and I did it, and I was presenting it, and people were saying, "Well, that's not right." And later, I said, "Well, I was just presenting what this consulting engineer told me." He says, "Well, did you verify it?" No, did not. So, but I was responsible for the information. So after that day, when people tell me something, I investigate. Say, "Well, you don't trust me?" No, I don't. I don't. So because I'm responsible, even if I regurgitate what you say, I'm still responsible. So it's something that really shifted a lot in me, because after that time, even when I read something, I look at the source. Because if it's someone who's trying to sell something, well, who knows if what they're saying is true? And then I would look at people that give me advice, and I would say, all right, and I would start following my own feeling about it, where, well, that didn't seem right, but I did it anyway. And I did that a lot because, you're 20 years old, you're working at a company, and we know better, and you're just too new at this. And so I went through a lot of that, and it took some time to start really trusting myself and verifying and validating and confirming and all that stuff. So I'm just a big researcher now. When I hear something or see something, I don't just take it. I look at it, and then if it sounds something that's I could apply to me, then I do that. Thanks.
No, basically, if I understand you right, it's Vangelis says you got to be yourself, and you've got to do what you feel is right. It may not look right to everybody else, but you've got to do what you feel is right. And by doing that, that's when you're going to get ahead. Thank you. Glenda, followed by Gab.
Thank you so much. Listening to everybody, I certainly agree. For my own life, my life has been filled of challenges and filled of many, many, many learnings. And for that, I am grateful for. But so if I had to start putting it down to some of the other ones, it all has to start in my books and in my life with kindness and understanding and empathy. I think that's the true circle of life. When you can put yourself in somebody else's shoes and listen and give them the time for what they are or where they stand. You don't know what somebody else has been through, and if you can sit back and listen, which is a huge component, and you can change somebody else's life. And it doesn't mean very much for yourself, but except for the one huge thing that comes back to you is walking around and having a full heart, knowing that you've done something for someone else by being a little bit more understanding and being more empathetic can actually change a life. And helping others is probably one of the greatest gifts in life. And I've lived my life in service and supporting others. And, in some ways, it always comes back and does something more for me. I've gotten more connections. It ends up making money, but I don't go ahead and start things with that in mind. That's probably the last thing I worry about. But for me, it's the greatest gift. And I want to say something that really makes a difference in life, that when something happens to us all, you know, and there's something that's gone wrong or has said something, and it instead of jumping in and responding, the best thing that you can do, and this has actually saved me a lot of headache and time, is to step back and think, listen, and think about it. And at some points when I've had major things happen, and if sometimes even I will sleep on that, I won't respond. Like, here's the thing, when somebody says something, you don't need to respond to everything people say. But if you quiet yourself and shut your mouth and just allow it to happen, even like I've even said to my children at times, and that because somebody says something, you can come back later or say, I need time to think about it. Even growing up and teaching my children when something has happened, if I'll come back later and respond to something. You don't have to respond to things right away. So stepping back and thinking, and if there's a struggle in your life, stop, think, and then something comes to you. Like, you have that wisdom inside, and that wisdom will speak to you. But if you jump into things and the mouth starts before the brain can consume it, then you fall into that pattern where people start, it comes into a whirlwind. So my greatest lesson in life, in every situation, is stop and listen. Respond to what you need to do. And that may be to just sleep on that situation so that you can really respond. It will save you tons of money. It will save you tons of heartache. And most importantly, you know what? It will save who you really are. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Glenda. That really valid points. I got a couple of strong things out of there if I heard you right. One is learn to listen. The good Lord gave us 2 ears and one mouth for a reason. You've all heard me say for many years I had 3 mouths and no ears because I didn't know enough to listen. The other part was learn to respond, not react, because reaction is your knee-jerk stuff. And for years I was guilty of that. And my big mouth got me into a lot of trouble because of it. So learn to respond. Like Glenda said, take the time to really think about it before you open your mouth. Thanks, Glenda. Gab, followed by Tina.
Hi. So, I would say that the most valuable lesson that I have kind of learned is that you should love yourself. Because I think that when you love yourself outwardly, everybody is a reflection of who you kind of are. So like when you are like willing to take the steps that are necessary to focus on your spiritual health, your mental health, your physical health, your emotional health, all of these things, and you find balance within it, everything will follow the way it needs to. I think that like a lot of times, like for example, I struggled with my eating for a while. I struggled with eating issues and stuff. And something that helped me was just really taking care of myself. I'm not like the most perfect person at eating or anything, but I realize that when I go like to make selections in a kitchen now, like the energy of the food, like everything that I try to pick, it's like healthy now. Like it's not like I really crave like things that are bad. So what I've learned is, not just food, but like, just relationships. When you value yourself, other people will learn to value you too. And it's okay to be kind to yourself. As I grew up thinking that, like, if you love yourself and you're like someone who treats yourself well, it means that like you're kind of like arrogant in a way or mean or like ratchet. I don't know for lack of a better term. I don't know. Like I used to think that like, you can't love yourself or else you're kind of like not a good person. But this is a really poor mentality to grow up with. And I'm noticing that now, and I'm realizing that you can be somebody who loves yourself, humbly bold and confident all together. It doesn't have to be arrogant or like arrogant or nice and happy and like good. You can have all of these qualities and still be a good leader. So I guess overall, I think that things have been falling into place better for me since I've been taking care of myself more. And I cherish what other people have to say. I've always cherished what other people have to say, but I've been more attuned to what others are telling me and not being so quick to make a judgment like right away. I think being open-hearted and understanding of everybody's unique situation is imperative. So, yeah, that's the biggest thing to me. Yep.
Great advice, Gab. One of the biggest things I got, and it's been a real pleasure working with you, The one thing that has really stood out to me, like from our working together, is you're willing to learn. You're willing to take advice, and you're young, and we can all learn from each other. It doesn't matter what our age is, but that you have a natural ability, and it's a great one, especially for people in your age bracket, that you are willing to listen to older people and learn. There's so many young people that the entitlement kicks in of, you owe me. Everybody here, I think, has heard me say, the world doesn't owe you a damn thing. The only thing the world owes you is an opportunity to show who you are. And Gab, you're doing a great job of that. So keep up the good work. Tina?
Done.
So John is so good to talk about all of us and point out all these wonderful things. So before I talk about John, because what I have to say relates to John, I want to thank Peter for being so good about bringing us all together. Peter loves people. He loves to help people, and he lives for that in his life. So we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Peter. So I want to thank Peter for bringing us all together, even when he's not feeling well. He's here for all of us. And so the thing that I want to point out, and I could point out lots of little things from what you guys all say, but Jim Carrey had a movie called The Yes Man.
Is it a commercial or a residential?
And in that movie, he does the
right. I've got someone
the
who
points
would do
where
commercial.
he's going through all of this
sec,
stuff,
Tina.
and he makes a promise. Yes,
I can give you a
Alan,
phone number.
can you mute yourself?
Good.
Thank you. Sorry about that.
Sorry. That's okay. So in the movie Yes Man, he has to go through, it's like a cult that he joins. He has to say yes to everything. And so I hired John here a couple years back, and I promised myself when I was going to hire him, and I didn't have the money to pay him. When I hired him, I promised myself that everything John asked me to do, I was going to try no matter what. And there was a couple of things in there that were major flops for me because of the work that I did. But had I not tried them, one, I wouldn't have known that they didn't work. And two, trying them made me stronger because I had to put what he was asking me to do in front of hundreds of people on LinkedIn and Alignable. So what I did was get myself out of a box. I took my fear, swallowed it, and did whatever John asked me to do. Had I not done that, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. So I thank Peter for everything that Peter's doing for all of us. And I thank John for helping me get to this point.
Thanks, Tina. I appreciate the shout out. The one thing that Tina's omitting was she's a 5th level black belt in Taekwondo. And when her and I were talking, what I did was I related things back to martial arts, something that she could understand. And that made it all come together. So when we're talking to people, pay attention to what they're good at. And if what you've got to say, you can relate it back to something that they do and understand, that makes it a lot easier for everybody for them to be able to relate to you. Because I know in all our different deals with the industry jargon and all the rest of it, it's really easy to talk about it. The other person's got this deer in the headlight look on their face and said, I had one of them, but the wheels fell off. I don't know what the hell you're talking about. So put it down to something that they can relate to. And when they can relate to it, again, that makes what you're saying a whole lot easier for them to do. Like Tina, they have to be willing to try it. If that person's not willing to go out and try it, you're wasting your time, you're wasting your breath, and don't take them on as a client because it's going to come back to bite you in the ass. So the one valuable lesson I learned, and it took me a long time, was I learned it from Peter and some other people, was to listen. And I'm not perfect at it by any means. If you ask the other half here, Glenda, she'll tell you that I can finish her sentences and I don't give her time to get a word out. She gets quite ticked at me for doing that. So I'm working on improving that. But we have to learn to listen. It's come out a lot in what everybody said. When you learn to listen and don't look to respond, you get a lot farther in life. That's been my valuable lesson. Daniel?
Yeah, I just wanted to add a few words. I mean, this was fantastic. And particularly with what Glenda was saying, is that, you know, what we have to remind ourselves is when we have a vision, when we have a passion, this comes from within ourselves. It means it fuels our energy, it fuels our resilience, because really we want, to go there. Now, when people try to discourage it, it comes from them. It means that sometimes that they try to do it for the good reasons, but it's about them reflecting their fears, their insecurities, their past failures. So we've got to really take a step back. They are not within us. They don't always get where we are. And the last point about this is that if we listen to others and if we let ourselves being discouraged, what's going to happen? It's regret. We are going to regret that we haven't followed our intuition, our heart, and what we thought was the right path for us. So let's follow this intuition and really, because it never fails us.
Excellent. Thank you, Daniel. Gab, here's a good lesson for you, because there's a lot of people in our age bracket and older that get to be near the end of your life and they say, I wish I woulda, coulda, I shoulda, because they never bothered to take the chance. They were scared. So you're doing a great job at a really young age. Keep it up. Alan, you had something you wanted to add?
No, I'm fine. I just was concurring with what Daniel was saying. The best thing is to do what your passion drives you to do, and not have the regret of not doing that, not being brave enough to do it.
Excellent.
Thanks.
Thank you. We got a couple minutes left. Anybody else got anything to add just before we wrap this up?
I do.
Great. We look forward to seeing
Donna
everybody
hasn't,
next.
Donna hasn't spoken yet.
Sorry, what's that, Kristine?
Donna hasn't spoken.
Oh, sorry, Donna. I apologize.
No, sometimes it's good to be last, and sometimes it's not good to be last, because I'm so inspired by everybody, and particularly Gabe, because personally, I've messaged Gabe privately, but one of the things that has so impressed me is I've had Asperger's for years and years and years, but I've never admitted to it to most people. I hide it because of everything else. I'm just so, she's made me actually prepared to admit to it, and then discover it wasn't such a big deal because everyone who knew me had already worked it out anyway. But the thing I wish, people say that at the end of their lives, well, we talk, should have, could have, did it, whatever. But, I sort of think if I knew what I knew now when I was younger, it probably wasn't a good thing. I think I had to go through the things, the different parts of my life. I mean, I've been an IT person, I've been a pilot, I've been a flying instructor, I've been an engineer, I've been an astronomer, now I'm a science communicator. And even though I'm old, and people say, well, why don't you retire? You're at the end of your life. Why are you starting new things? I think that everything that from those early years where people say you can't do stuff to when you actually basically thumb your nose at everybody and prove you can, actually makes you who you are. And that's probably the most valuable lesson I've learned, is everything I've been through has made me who I am. So having regrets on what I could have, should have, would have, whatever, is useless, because I'm now where I am, and what I've got left to offer, I've still got stuff to offer people, even though I'm old. Okay, I'm not as old as some people, but I'm old for me.
You're not old,
Donna, just because you've been around. Donna, just because you've been around as long as dirt, that doesn't make you old.
Are you having a go at us, are you, Donna?
No, I was just teasing somebody who, just teasing my friend, the other Aussie.
Sorry I forgot you, Donna. Kristine, thanks for bringing that up. I really appreciate it. We're 1 minute over, so with that, I'd like to thank everybody for coming out and look forward to seeing you all next week. Thanks, everybody. Bye for now.
Thanks very much.
Bye,
Thanks,
everyone.
John.
Bye.
Thanks,
Thank you,
John.
John.
Thanks, Peter.
Thanks,
Everyone.
everybody.